Welcome, everybody, to Hey Kentucky, presented by Wendy's and Sullivan University. Lee Cruz is my co-host tonight. Lee, there is so much to talk about. This is one of the biggest news days I can remember.
I don't know how we're going to do it.
Well, let's get started. I don't want to waste time. We began with the latest on Kentucky's pension crisis. Today, Governor Matt Bevin unveiled his plan that promises to fix the problem, at least he says, over the course of 30 years. Now, I'll go over it in depth in the next segment, but a big part of it was they said they weren't going to do anything for the folks working now. The retirement age will not be raised. There won't be cuts for retired workers. First responders stay under the same system. New employees move into a 401k. Take a look and listen to Bevin's statement on Facebook.
Everybody wants a solution. We've come up with one that saves the pension system and keeps the pension promise. This is a bill that every single legislator will vote for if they're doing what's right for retirees and for state workers.
Now, Lee, we're going to talk more about this in the next segment, but as a basic premise, they took a lot of the controversial stuff out of here. Did they take the stuff out that will actually fix the problem?
Probably not, because that would have required a real sacrifice.
That's what I mean.
So maybe you can incrementally fix the problem in 30 years, say, as opposed to 5.
Yeah.
Now, the problem you're going to have, though, if you don't make that big sacrifice is, what if some fiscal issue comes along?
You're in trouble.
We're back in trouble again.
Here's going to be the most important thing immediately. If you watch the next segment, I'll talk about how it affects you as a worker. But for the state, Lee, they put in a provision that requires the government to fund what it needs to for the pension. That's good, but next year, where are they going to find that money? I mean, they're going to have to raise taxes. They just are. I don't know how. They have basically, by doing this, required themselves to raise taxes, don't you think?
Well, we'll see, yeah, or you make cuts other places.
What else can they cut? I mean, there's like nothing left.
I don't know, Matt. I bet I could find some things.
You probably could, but can you find $900 million worth of cuts?
I don't know.
Because that's what they're going to end up having to do here.
But I bet there's a lot. If you have dealt with the government, you know the bureaucracy that's in Frankfurt.
But the problem is they have tried to postpone this moment for so long that I think they've cut a lot of that stuff.
Right.
Because I think for 10 years they've been doing that, hoping to never have this. So now $900 million. I mean, the old plan was bad, but it would have paid for itself. I don't know how they pay for this one.
Yeah, but if you didn't do this...
Well, then you had to do something.
There you go.
I'm just not sure that this fixes the problem, but it's something. Now, 2 days after we learned the fate of Rick Pitino, the Board of Trustees at Louisville took up the matter of suspended athletic director Tom Jurich today, and now he's gone. Pitino and Jurich were both placed on administrative leave last month, a day after the FBI revealed its Adidas investigation. Today, after several hours in session, the Louisville board voted 10-3 to fire Tom Jurich. Lee, it's a day I never thought I'd see. Tom Jurich is gone at Louisville. Pitino Monday, Jurich Wednesday. Are you surprised?
No, not at all. If they want to save the institution, if they want to provide any sort of credibility, they had to let this guy go. I mean, it's astonishing there's 3 people that voted to keep him.
Yeah, well, those 3 people all spoke. It was like they got up and were like, hey, Louisville fans, leave me alone. I'm actually voting for him to stay. Yeah. Well, listen, I have dealt with Tom Jurich for about a decade, and I have to tell you, he has made my life extremely difficult from all forms. He is, I mean, Lee, I'm not kidding you. This is a dude who forever they had people who would listen to my radio show every day, call my bosses, and complain about everything I said about Louisville. It became more than I could handle. The guy intentionally tried to get me fired from jobs. I don't want to be so petty as to be happy, but I have to tell you, my life is going to be a lot less stressful today than it was yesterday.
Tom Jurich was essentially your stalker girlfriend.
He was, and not nearly as attractive.
Yeah.
I am glad he is gone. I will say, but the university, didn't they have to do this?
They had to do this. You look at the litany, even before this latest thing, and the quality and character of some of the hires he's made.
And the money he was making. He was making 5 times as much money as Mitch Barnhart, who doesn't have scandals.
Right. That's right. And that's, you know, we should point that out real quick.
I agree.
Think about how lucky we are to have the guy we got.
We really are. Now, Rick Pitino is back in the news. Yesterday, we learned he is suing Adidas. The ousted Louisville coach claims, I can't believe I'm reading this sentence. He claims the shoe company has, quote, ruined his reputation by funneling money to Cards recruit Brian Bowen. He maintains the $100,000 deal was done without his knowledge or participation. Now, the federal lawsuit comes one day after Adidas terminated its contract with Pitino, where he got apparently 98% of the dollars that was paid to Louisville. Meanwhile, the lawyer has confirmed Pitino today received a grand jury subpoena as part of the FBI's investigation into college basketball recruiting. Lee, the audacity of this man is unmatched in sports.
True.
He is suing Adidas, saying, you know what didn't ruin my reputation? Having sex in an Italian restaurant. You know what didn't ruin my reputation? Hiring prostitutes for the players.
Yeah.
But you know what did ruin my reputation?
Yeah.
You giving Brian Moen money. Unbelievable.
So is it but let me just say this, you're absolutely right on all those points. But they did take money, as a result of this deal, they took money out of his pocket. So this money would have been his if this deal didn't happen. Now, if he can prove he really didn't know anything about it, is there merit to the case?
He's never going to be able to prove he didn't know. Like, you can't prove a negative. Now, he can show that maybe we don't have proof he did know.
Right.
But here's the thing. This is why this lawsuit's done. In order to say someone ruined your reputation, you have to tell us what your reputation was.
Right.
Which
so
means
that has no merit.
Which means Adidas is going to be able to look in and say, Rick, let's find out what your reputation is.
Right. So, but on the grounds of loss of income.
He didn't argue breach of contract.
Well, why did he do that?
Because I think the contract had a clause that if you get fired from Louisville, we don't have to have you anymore. So, like there are coaches that have contracts that whether or not they're the coach of a school, they still get it. I guess Pitino didn't have that contract. But the idea, his reputation is now fair game. Rick Pitino is bizarre. Now, an update on the Confederate statues in downtown Lexington. Last night, the city of Lexington carried out a surprise removal of the figures that saluted John Breckinridge and John Hunt Morgan from the lawn of the former Fayette County courthouses overnight. Attorney General Andy Beshear had cleared the way by saying Lexington did not need approval from the Kentucky Military History Commission to move the statues. Mayor Jim Gray's office says they were taken to a private storage facility and will be relocated within the next week to the Lexington Cemetery. Now, we discussed before whether or not it was a good decision to do this. I thought it was. But if you're going to do it, doing it overnight when people didn't know is probably a good idea, don't you think?
Well, yeah, if you want to avoid
Charlottesville.
Right.
Right, if you want to avoid
that's what they were trying to do. Sure. Yeah. Are we positive the Lexington Cemetery wants these things?
I think it's actually a good place for them, to be honest.
Well, I agree. I think it is.
Yeah.
You know, or if you get some sort of museum place.
Yes, I agree.
But are we? I don't
Does
know.
the Lexington Cemetery want this?
Do they want them? And it's not going to bring some sort of controversy there.
I don't think it will.
For people though who may feel adamant about this triggers me.
I think most people believe that everyone deserves a place to be buried. And so I don't.
They're not buried there. They're just removing statues to honor the Confederacy.
But we can act like they're buried. I think I think it's actually a good. Don't you think it's a good compromise?
The cemetery, or
for the cemetery,
some place that would honor war veterans or Confederacy.
I agree. That's what I think they should do, and it looks like